Lauwers, who is the founder and CEO of BirdBrain Technologies today. How are you, Tom?
I'm great. Thanks, Laura. Thanks for inviting me on.
Sure, sure. For those of you who may be new, I do a weekly series where I interview people who are somehow involved in the field of STEM, STEAM, technology, education of children, learning in general, and it's become one of my favorite parts of the week. I'm a very curious person and I get to learn a lot. So just to recap, I am the CEO and founder of RoboFun. RoboFun is a 24-and-a-half-year-old company. And yes, in February, Tom, we're going to have some sort of event. Maybe I'll drag you to New York if I can. We provide schools, kids, teachers, parents with creative uses of STEAM and STEM to help them love to learn. So right now, we are starting our fall semester, and it is coming back. We are all ready to come back. We are now mask optional. We're located at 102nd and Broadway. And we have coming up on Monday, the 19th, is the beginning of our fall semester. But our fall semester generally tends to be a little bit, you can sign up a little later if you're not quite ready. We also have an open house on Sunday, the 25th from 11 to 2. So if you're thinking about it, you want to learn more about RoboFun, please come and join us. We are at robofun.org. I send out a blog twice a week, and I do these interviews once a week. And I have a wonderful network of people from a very wide range. And it's fun to have you join us on Thursdays. It's fun to have you, Tom, and it's fun for the audience to have comments, ideas. So Tom is with me. Tom and I met right before the pandemic. I had heard about his company for years and was very curious. And we were both given awards at this conference for ICC inner city, basically companies who are located in economically distressed areas. Tom was the feature award winner. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is it. And I got to see his amazing products. So Tom periodically comes on and tells us what he's working on. And right now, what he's working on is incredibly cool. So I'm going to stop talking. And Tom, tell us about what you've been working on and what you've created.
Yeah, so I was just thinking 24-and-a-half-years. It's twice as long as BirdBrain Technologies has been around. Exactly. We're at 12 years now.
Right, well, I don't see this color in your hair yet. So.
It's
Right.
starting. Yeah.
Okay.
And we didn't get to do the 10-year anniversary because that was in June of 2020. But maybe
Right.
we need to do something now that things are coming back.
All right, I'll come out.
So I started my company to inspire deep and joyful hands-on learning. And I used to say through creative robotics. And that last part is still important with respect to some of our products. But what I'm showing today is really focused actually on math education and on building deep and joyful learning experiences hands-on through math manipulatives. And so we developed these math manipulatives. We call them Owlet, or the product line is called Owlet, through funding with from the National Science Foundation and through a partnership with Carnegie Mellon University. And so this is the end result of about 4 years of research. And so I'm really excited to show it to you all today. And just to say, I'm showing this, but a lot of people worked on this. And so I want to acknowledge that.
Sure.
We worked with dozens of math teachers, several researchers at Carnegie Mellon, and several people at BirdBrain also. So Owlet is composed of two math manipulatives, Cube and Glow. Mm-hmm. And I thought, instead of talking about them, I could do a quick demo of each one to give you kind of a better idea of what they are.
Let me get this set up the way we want. There we go.
All right, so I will start by showing Cube. So here's the box for Cube. We have our Cube mascot owl. And Cube is all about learning place value. So it's a math manipulative that uses these cubes and the tracks in the manipulative to show or demonstrate place value. So These are both manipulatives are Bluetooth connected, so they connect to tablet apps for instant feedback. So let me turn this one on, and let me launch the Cube app.
While you're doing that, for those of you who are not in the world of math, a manipulative is a hands-on tool that helps us learn. And place value, for just a quick reminder, are basically hundreds, tens, and ones going from the left to the right.
Yeah. So with respect to Cube, place value is this concept that many math teachers said students struggle with initially, and also one that comes up kind of throughout the curriculum, starting in kindergarten and going up really through fourth grade, maybe even a little into fifth grade. So, you hit it when you talk about multi-digit numbers. That's like the first place you hit it. And then you go to the hundreds, and then you go to things like money and decimals, which also are forms of place value. And then, hundreds and thousands, and trying to understand that. So let me show you. So once you've connected the Cube to the app, you get the screen.
I'm gonna jump in so what you're purchasing for around $100 is the Cube,
right?
And what you get for free that you can run on a tablet, basically.
Yeah, or a Chromebook or a MacBook, actually.
That's very helpful to know. Okay,
yeah.
Great.
Yep. So yes, the software is free. We have free teacher guides and lots of learning materials on our website also. So it's not like it's an ongoing or subscription-based thing. It's just the purchase of the manipulative.
And I would just add that having worked now with Tom through the pandemic, and his materials online are fantastic. And they're just really well thought out and really helpful. So
yeah, thanks to the National Science Foundation funding, we were able to work with many teachers, and so we were able to iterate those materials before product launch also to really make sure that they were helpful. So you have this kind of menu of what would you like to learn place value, like what level would you like to learn place value at. So you can go to tens or hundreds. So I'm going to show you hundreds. And then within each level, we have several different categories or ways of exploring place value. And the first is just explore. And in explore, all you're doing is you're making numbers. So if I stick, a cube into each column, now I've made 111 because this track is worth 100, this track is 10, this track is 1. And so I can do this and just kind of see what I'm creating, right? And this also, many teachers, the way they did this was in groups of 2, with one student maybe using the tablet and one using the manipulative. So, if you don't see the tablet, the student seeing the tablet might ask, what number do you think you made? And then they have the answer and they can talk about it.
So you're really taking things that are kind of, I don't like to use the word drudgery, but can be seen as drudgery to learn, and making them fun and interesting.
Yeah, it was interesting because we had a lot of conversations initially with math teachers, and we came from it with the respect of, maybe we can make a robot to help with some of this. And when it comes to geometry and measurement and data, robotics serves that quite well. But something like place value is a little bit harder with a mobile robot or something like that, or one of our other products.
Right. Okay. Before you go on, one of the things I'm noticing, I don't know if you can go back to that screen. Yep. And can you bring it to the camera a little bigger? Because I'm seeing that the graphics show is really helpful to see. Okay. Yeah, so the one has, okay. That's cool. Very nice.
I mean, they were inspired by kind of the traditional math manipulatives that show a block of 100 and blocks or strips of 10 and so on.
Yep. Okay.
There's other things that you can do, right? So make gives you a different type of challenge. It says, okay, now you've explored, so now make 400 plus 80 plus 9. And it actually, again, this is the kind of thing that you learn in collaboration with teachers. They they would say, well, this is one form of stating a number, but you could also write it out. And so we actually switch back and forth between different forms of kind of expressing the number up here. So, one thing that's nice about having the feedback from the app is you can check if you're right, and it'll say, no, try again. So, to make 400 plus 80 plus 9, well, that might take me a while, actually. I don't have any control over which problems it gives me. So this one's
No,
great
it's
for
fine.
demo.
Taking time is okay. It helps us see how it all works. So, and if you don't have any numbers, okay, you got it.
Yeah.
Dr. Tom Lauwers, I think you could have solved that, so I wasn't worried.
Yeah.
If you don't have any numbers in one of the columns, do the lights not show up on it?
No, these 3 lights are showing you, they're color coded.
Okay.
So this is another hint, like this is the blue color. So blue for 4, green for 8. So it's kind of giving you a hint. And I wasn't showing this, or I hadn't stuck them on, but we have stickers depending on the type of place value exercise you do that you can stick under the lights to give a little more of a scaffold.
So you can you do decimals?
Yeah. So if I go to thousandths, let's explore some of the other ones. Because these modes are true for all of them. So let's say we build a number between 0.28 and 0.68 with 16 cubes. So it shows me the number I currently have in decimals, which is 0.489. So I'm going to have to remove some cubes. One of the fun ways to do that is like push that button. So it's fun. So there we go. Got it right. Now build the smallest number possible with 16 cubes, right? So you're really exploring different aspects of making numbers and how numbers are put together with this. You can go to round 0.869 to the nearest 0.01, right? So I'm going to have to start by making 0.8. And then let's say that's, we'll check. It'll give me a little bit of a hint. Here's 0.869, here's 0.87, 0.86. And so it's giving you a hint because you didn't get it right the first time. So now I'll say, oh, well, it's 0.87. Okay.
So is there sound or no sound from the app?
Right now, there's no sound. We're considering putting in some assistance from like having it read. So when you click on something, it'll say build mode for students who have dyslexia or have trouble reading, but we haven't gotten there yet.
Right.
I mean, when this gets out into the world, I'm expecting like by next summer, we'll have a suggestion box. And as you know, we're very open to suggestions and improvements, right? So I'm hoping that we'll have a bunch of great suggestions for improvements to work on next summer.
Okay, so at this point, is this available to purchase or not quite yet?
It's shipping next week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And so shipping next week from China?
No, from the US. So they came over, they are manufactured in China, but we got our first manufacturing run at the beginning of September. And we spent the last 2 weeks just making sure everything's good, doing QC. But now we're ready to ship.
Oh my goodness. So you have them, you're ready to ship.
Ooh. Yeah.
And so it seems to me there's a couple of different markets that, knowing you've thought about, but I have a neighbor whose child just hates math. And I actually showed her, do you know the game? I think it's 1048, the little app, but I could see doing this with her and that she might really enjoy it. Are you at all in the home market, or is this primarily for schools?
I mean, we generally focus on schools first, and that's true for all of our products. That's the way we think about them, the way we design. We design for a school use case.
Yep.
That doesn't mean that we don't, we sell it on our store, so anybody can buy them. And certainly you're welcome to buy them for home use. And our educational materials are free, and they're not hidden behind some sort of wall or only available to official teachers. So
Sure.
certainly, yeah.
Okay. Okay. This is super exciting. And you would say the range is kindergarten through fifth grade?
Yeah, so for fourth and fifth grade, you can take two of these and you can kind of connect them to an app called Cube 6 for larger numbers. So then you can do 6-digit numbers.
It feels, I'm thinking of the manipulative, I can't remember the name of it, that used to be used for an abacus. It
Yeah.
feels a little bit like an abacus in some ways.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a way of representing numbers. So, all right.
Do you want to
Could I
show
show you
it?
the other one?
Yeah, we'd love to see it.
All right. So let me move this over. All the cube stuff. And I'll use my glow. So glow is, you can almost think of it as like a multiplication table.
Okay.
Illustrated as a grid of LED lights. So the LED lights, there's 144 of them, and they're multicolor. And again, you connect it to different apps. So for this one, we actually developed three apps. I'm going to start with Glow Grid, which is all about learning arithmetic. And so let me connect to it. So choose your Glow board, and then you can do different different arithmetic operations. So let's go to multiplication. And again, for each of those arithmetic operations, there's explore and make and solve and find. So explore is just like with exploring cubes. Now you're exploring multiplication. You turn these dials and you're making, a math equation. So you're making 5 by 8, 5 times 8 equals 40. It tells you that here. And then it also, if you look at, it actually tells you the answer here also. So as you're making it, you can say, oh, I made 6 times 5, that's 30. These overlays are stickers. So we have different ones for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. You also don't need to use an overlay. And we also have overlays that don't have the answers, that just have the row and column numbers. So it's all about, it's dependent on where your students are with respect to having how much multiplication have they learned, right? So there's a lot of differentiation kind of built into the product.
So when you say stickers, is it like a sticker on each of those buttons?
Yeah. Let's see. It's one sticker. These are really tough stickers.
Okay.
They don't tear or anything.
Okay.
And then they're reusable also. So I can pull this one off.
Oh, okay. So you're not doing, are you doing it? You're not, okay, good. You're not doing it button by button. It's a whole film. Okay.
That. We give you like a little cardboard back to store them on.
Yep. Okay.
And then you can replace them. Yeah. So that's like the basics of, basically doing arithmetic with Glow. There's also, in both apps, in Cube also, there's a view sessions. And so you can see what your students did that day. So you can see, which problems did they solve, which did they solve incorrectly, that kind of thing. And then just to give you a quick overview of the other apps, here's Fractions. Fractions is an app for learning fractions. There's a few different modes. There's like a foundations, intro to fractions, and then equivalence is like making equivalent fractions. So let me just go to like this, so we can explore making a fraction with the dials. So if you can see that, making two.
So we're seeing, I think, an owl on the screen, and then the real action is on the
Yeah. In this case, we couldn't really display it very well on the LEDs, so most of it is there.
Cool. So what? Wow! I mean, two new products about to be out. Just a few general questions. How long have you been involved in producing this? How long from the beginning of getting the grant to now?
I wrote the first phase 1. So the way that NSF SBIR funding works, and that's the type of program that that funded this. There's a phase 1 and a phase 2. I wrote the phase 1 grant in 2016. And then the phase 2 grant I wrote in 2017, late 2017, 2018 is when it got, so the phase 1 is about a year of research.
Mm-hmm.
So first there's, you write the grant, then you wait 6 months, then it's a year of research.
Yep.
Then you write the phase 2, then it's another 3, in our case, 3 years of research. Phase 2 was in 2018 through 2021. It was actually supposed to be through 2020, but we couldn't do our pilots because of the pandemic, so we had to wait a little while.
So how does it work when you work with the schools in a pilot?
So we started with focus groups with math teachers, where we would invite them over to Carnegie Mellon, because like I said, we worked with Carnegie Mellon on this. And, we showed them some ideas for different types of manipulatives, and they kind of glommed onto some or thought of one. So we started purely with teachers in kind of towards the end of phase 1. We actually weren't focused on math at the beginning of phase 1. We were focused on kind of science, but we heard from teachers generally that said, we really need help with math, especially if you're looking at K-3. Right. So it's what you do when you're running a business and developing products, right? Listen to the people. Yeah. So we started exploring like math a little bit at the end of phase 1. Fortunately, NSF allows that kind of pivot if it's well justified. Right. And then we really explored it in phase 2. So starting with focus groups with teachers, then developing some hardware. I mean, I could show you, it was like laser cut, made of cardboard. But it was good enough to work for 3 or 4 days in a classroom. So we did short-term pilots, mostly locally in the Pittsburgh area. Yep. And then once we had, injection molded or plastic tools, like plastic cases, robust hardware, we did long-term pilots with 6 teachers that we recruited, through our existing customer base. We sent out a newsletter, said, does anybody want to do this? And they were all over the country. And that was interesting because it was the 2020 to 2021 school year. Yeah. And so we were hoping to get we were hoping to basically recruit 2 classrooms of every grade. We didn't quite get there. We got 1 per grade roughly. And of course, I could show you this graph that we wrote in our final report of like, which classroom was in what sort of learning mode at which times. Like hybrid, remote, in person. Yeah. So, we designed this thinking about like stations in classrooms or in-person classrooms with 2 students working together. And instead we had, some classrooms where we sent the hardware home with the kids and the teachers did it remotely. And other ones where, our 2-to-1 thing didn't work out so well because of social distancing rules. And but even with all of that, I mean, the teachers hung in there. Like, who would really want to pilot something new during that year? I don't know, but 6 people did. And I'm very grateful for them doing that. Sure. And I mean, the results, we don't have very good quantitative results just because of how chaotic that year was. Right. But qualitative results were very strong. Both teachers and student self-reports were encouraging. So now that it's out, maybe we can do the quantitative study, because we're at scale now. Yeah. Yeah. So for anyone interested, you can buy Cube or Glow in a couple weeks from your site. Yeah, you can buy them now. They'll ship next week. Wow. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So you've been involved in running a company for 12 years, and a good third of that is through a pandemic. That's, yeah. And Tom and I are also involved in a whole other conversation on his other product, which we're going to have Tom come back in a couple months and talk about the Finch, which is a very, very cool product. You have one handy? Oh, I have one handy. Yeah. Got one right here. We're both gonna. I can turn mine on. I think this one's doing like an LED thing. Right. Okay. There we go. Yeah, it's changing its colors.
So, Tom, as always, I'm so impressed with your work. Um, it's just really meets the needs of kids to
Yeah, that's
learn
what it's all about.
joyfully, creatively. So, do you have anything else you want to share?
Um, yeah, I mean, teachers can go to BirdBrain Technologies. Our website is also brand new as of the end of June.
Wow.
And so it's very flashy now. And our teach section in particular, like we've really improved the navigation of the teach section. So
And the
you can see all our resources there.
fantastic. And the resources I highly recommend. So,
Yeah. Oh,
so
one other thing,
yeah.
actually. So we have 60-day free demos.
Oh, right. I
We've
want
had
to, yeah.
that program for any teacher in the United States. So if you're teaching in a formal setting in the US, we've extended that to Owlet. So you can borrow a Glow or a Cube so you can evaluate them in person. Because, I mean, that's really what's important is getting
Yes.
your hands on it and actually testing
Yeah.
it out.
I,
And then we will be showing them at the National NCTM, National Council of Teachers of Mathematics, I think, in
okay.
LA at the end of September.
Cool. All right. Well, teachers are very lucky to see this. Parents, you have a child who's determinedly not very turned on to math. These are really, really fun tools. So thank
Yeah.
you so much, Tom.
Thank you,
And
Laura.
I'll have you come back if you're willing. We'll talk about the
Mm-hmm.
Finch and how that all got developed and where you're at with that. But
Yeah.
Leslie, you're running a company with three or four different products now, right?
Yep. Yeah. It's
That's very,
exciting. Yeah.
yeah. And the world needs what you're doing very much. So keep at it.
Yep. I got new product ideas.
All right. Fantastic.
I'm
All
working on
right.
it.
Good. We will talk soon, and thank you for our audience. Actually, before we go, we have a few audience members. Are there any questions out there? I'm not seeing any answers, but I will do our wrap up. And if we get a question while I'm doing the wrap up, that's exciting. So again, Dr. Tom Lauwers, founder and CEO of BirdBrain, located in Pittsburgh, and developing incredibly joyful, fun tools for learning STEAM, math, science, technology, engineering. I am Laura Hart. I'm the founder of RoboFun. We're on 102nd and Broadway, and we have lots of activities this fall, sort of three different ones that come to mind. I'm not used to this. Three, which are, we have an open house on the 25th. We have all of our after school fall programs starting next Monday. And those run for about right till Thanksgiving. And then we also have a lot of activities during the holidays. And there's about 6 holidays this fall. And the joke always is that, schools are great, but there's all these holidays that I have to work. So it's a great opportunity, to try us out and to have a chance to be able to go to work and know your child is doing fun things. And we got a question. So I don't know.
I'll have to give a disappointing response here because I'm still keeping those close to the vest. But I think maybe in a year we can have a conversation about it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
We did just put out a Finch Math Mat. That's also on our
Yes.
store. So that's an accessory to the Finch, but another way to get into mathematics using one of our other products, the Finch, a mobile robot. Yeah.
Cool. All right. We are all set, and I very much appreciate your time, and it's exciting to hear what you're working on. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to be here. Thanks, Laura.
Sure.